Hey there. So today on Founder Fridays, I'm joined by Sukhpal Saini, Techstars alum and founder of Engyne. He's built over 30 products in the past 8 years and grew a Canva app to 10,000 recurring users and recently tested 5 different business models in just 4 months. Sukh, I'm really happy to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Sukh, I was just wondering, you've built a ton of things over the years. What got you into this world of building in the first place?
Yeah, I was a terrible employee. That's the honest answer. So I started working out of university and I worked for IBM. It's close to where I live, and all I would do is I would work full time. I would do my full time work like really quickly and then try to build stuff on the side. There used to be this great community called indiehackers.com where people would share, hey, I'm a software developer. I built a small tool, and then I'm now making X amount of dollars per month, and that seemed really awesome to me because you don't have a boss. You're making your own money. You can like build whatever you want to. You can pick up new technologies if you want to, and if you don't want to, then you don't have to. So I really love the freedom that comes with building your own stuff, and so I've been chasing that dream ever since. And so over the last 8 years, just building different things and learning along the way. So learning sales, learning marketing, learning copywriting are the things that I came out of building a bunch of stuff. I think if I was at a full-time job, I wouldn't have the opportunity to do that.
That's amazing. And I can see like on your profile, something that you do highlight is that you had an exit last year, but you're still going hard. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you built, what you exited, and why you're still building?
Yeah, so the product that I built that I got acquired is called retail.store, retail.store. It's still live. So what it was an e-commerce store builder, but specifically for Stripe products. So if you know Stripe, like you can like create products in there, but you have to have developers come in to put it all together so people can like check out your items. I saw there was a lot of people. So somebody like down the street, maybe a hairdresser that's selling like one or two products. Somebody like there's how it's called like at schools there'll be like fundraiser events where they're selling shirts, right? Like these kind of like small um e-commerce shops that people are popping up, and they need to there's no great way for them to use Stripe products to be able to create a shoppable store and then like send the link out to people. So I saw that and I built it, and the way I built it was it was a while ago. It was like in 2021, 2022. Stripe had a Stripe app marketplace. And so what they were trying to do is they wanted to expand the Stripe ecosystem. So they wanted third-party developers to come in and extend Stripe's functionality. I already knew about this problem and I was like already thinking about it. And I messaged the Stripe product team to be like, I have an app. I think I can like build this and like, please let me in. It was a private beta only as well. So I got access to it 6 months before the public release. And so
Oh,
I
nice.
already had an app live when the public release time came out. And so I had like a massive advantage. Within like about 1 2 years, I only spent about 2 months building the product. And after that, the Stripe app, like the marketplace just brought the people in. So people would be searching how to create an e-commerce store and they would like, see my app and then there's a button install on Stripe. That's how I would get my customers. So I did no outside marketing, got up to like 1,200 stores. And then I figured out that I wasn't the best person to run the company, and it wasn't growing fast enough. And there was a couple other things that I wanted to do as well. So I got into Techstars at the same time for a different idea. And so I was like, I gotta like put see like take it to the next level, as in like see if somebody else wants to take it on. And I put it up on acquire.com. That's how I got sold. Within 2 or 3 days, I think the numbers were really good. Plus, we were the top app at the same time, and we were in trending as well. So we were just getting a lot of growth that way. Found a buyer really quickly, and that's how the acquisition happened. I think it was just over like a handshake deal as well. It wasn't
Wow,
yeah, it was very quick.
that's amazing. That's inspiring as well, especially for people who build, find a need, build, and then exit is kind of the entrepreneurial dream, depending on how invested you are in your product. So you talked a little bit about how now you worked with Techstars at building Engyne, right? Can you tell me a little
Mhm.
bit more about Engyne? How's that going?
Yeah. So for Engine, what I'm building is um, it's a way for founders to build a personal brand, because what happens is like from pre-seed, when you come up with an idea all the way down to like series A, it's a founder that's doing the selling. So if you can, you're doing the marketing, you're doing the sales, you're doing everything. So um, and content is the best way to attract inbound customers. So what we do is we help you create LinkedIn content really, really quickly. It's all authentic. So you come up with an idea, you speak with our AI interviewer, it interviews you, and then the conversation gets turned into LinkedIn posts for the rest of the week. So that's the way I found my customers, like posting on LinkedIn. So I'm trying to like productize that portion for the rest of founders.
That's amazing. And I actually, since I've been following you and also worked with you a couple times, I've really seen the idea that you promote about building in public, which I think is super, super cool. How do you feel like that has affected your journey? And what have you learned about building in public that you think is so important for people these days?
I think all the opportunity that I've had is from building in public. I don't think like I have any other secret sauce than just being able to just show up and tell people what I'm doing, not one on one, but like, in a one to many relationship. So, we talked several months ago, and you helped me quite a bit, and we still are connected, and you know what I'm up to. That's the kind of relationship I've had with so many people for the last like 4 or 5 years, and that's just like at like made it almost like my growth exponential in terms of like the people I know and then the people they know, and like when I need help, they're always there to help me. So building a community around what I'm building, I call this an unlosable game. The products kind of come and go. Like your idea might not work today, it might not work tomorrow, but there's people that are around you that are seeing you do the work and showing up every day and like hustling. They're gonna help you be successful either today or like 10 days from now, 10 years from now, because you're just going to have like 20, 40, 100 people around you that are like, man, Sukh is doing a great job. We got to help him. And it's all about getting to that one idea that, that's going to catch fire. And there's going to be people around you that will help you get there. So it's an unlosable game that way, where the idea that you're working on today might not work, but eventually it will work because you have such a strong network and support around you. And I think like that's the piece that I really wish and want to instill in other founders as well, as a way to grow yourself and your product as well.
Okay, cool. And that's really inspiring, especially like building open tools. When I first started in the industry, I really thought it would be extremely competitive. And some of my biggest wins, some of the biggest growths for us have been because people who are technically competitors have really helped us. And kind of when we reached out to ask just a simple question like, how do you do this? Or how did you go about this when you had this problem?
Yeah.
I think helped us really like hop, skip, and jump over a lot of problems we would have had if we just tried to do it, as people say, like moving in silence. So
Yeah,
I agree completely.
if you move in silence, by the way, then it's only you that has to come up with a solution, and like you might not even get to the perfect solution in the right time. It might take you like 10 years to come to figure out like what the right positioning was. But if somebody can tell you that within like day one, you've saved so much time and so much pain, so much trouble as well. And then on the other side, I think like founders like typically go through so much pain themselves. They're like, oh man, if I could just like tell somebody like what to do from like right now, like I would much like I would do that. I would do that for my younger self as well. So I think like there's that dynamic which I love, and I think more founders should one give, and more founders should not be afraid to ask as well.
Of course. And just talking about growth, talking about the unlosable game, obviously, if you've launched over 30 products in the last couple of years, you've had to walk away from a couple. How do you know when it's time to pivot that to something new or to walk away? Not thinking of it as a loss, but maybe just as a lesson.
I've had to walk away from a lot of products. It's very painful, especially, well, it's less painful when there's zero customers. When there's zero customers, you already know like this wasn't it and you can move on. The harder one is when you have like one or two or like maybe 10 customers, but you know it's going to be very hard to grow it as fast as you want it to. It's hard because there's money being made. So you're like maybe like a month from now, 2 months from now, I'll like come across like a growth channel that will 10x this growth. But you've been doing this for the last year and it hasn't happened yet. So like maybe it's not going to happen. So that's the harder one. The way I think about pivoting is so there's three um, things for building a business is the problem that you're trying to solve, who you're solving it for, and the way you're solving it. So like the problem, like for example, for I am solving the problem for like marketing or like growth, and who I'm solving it for is founders, and how I'm solving it right now is a tool. But very easily it could be a course, it could be a community, it could be one-on-one coaching, could be like events, whatever, like YouTube channel, TikTok channel, any of these things are like the way I solve it. I think the golden rule that I've come across is like at any time when you think about pivoting, change only one of them. So instead of saying I am, building something for car dealerships and now I'm going to build something for B2B SaaS, it's just completely different worlds, and none of the learnings that you've had doing the car dealership business are going to translate over to this new thing. And it actually like you'll like drive yourself crazy because like you're like, I'll do this one idea, I'll do this other idea, I'll do this other idea, and they don't compound. But when you change one thing out of the three, you might find that like the old contacts that you had or the people that trusted you that didn't, renew your service now all of a sudden renew. Maybe the part of the product that you build could be turned into a course instead. So there's always advantage and there's always like things that you can take away from your last thing and build on top of it for this new thing. So that's one tip that I have, which is like change only one out of the three, not three at the same time, not two at the same time either. And the second one I have is like knowing when to pivot. It's very easy to say that I'll just pivot for the sake of it because it's not working and I feel like it today. Like, I think this business is not going to work. And I've had like those kind of moments quite a bit. But the golden rule there for like figuring out when to pivot is I think when you can have like two bullet points and you can write on like a chalkboard why business wouldn't work. What I mean by that is I had this thing I was building which was called Newsy on Spotify for news. The idea was that you would put on headphones in the morning and like listen to news and like for 5 minutes and it would speak it out to you. At that time, this was like a couple of years ago, I was charging people $5 a month, but to transcribe the news to like turn it from like text to speech, it was costing me $20. So I was losing $15 from the get-go. So like I obviously it's a bad business model, whatever, all that, but I didn't know at the time. So I went to the blackboard and like I wrote that down, and that thing is definitive why this business wouldn't work because I'm literally losing money. And then on top of that, by the way, is news goes out of fashion really quickly. A news article from like 10 years ago isn't relevant today. But if I had an audiobook, for example, like if I did that with a book, the book that I transcribed 10 years ago will still be relevant today. I could still make money off of it. So even if I had spent $15 making the audio recording, I could charge multiple people $5 a month, and then that would be a good like economic model. So when I wrote that on the blackboard, I could anybody could walk into the room and say this is a terrible business. I don't know who is building this thing, but it's terrible. And so like that's when when you can like write something as specific as that, as definitive as that. I think then you can be like, I've tried everything, it's not gonna work, and this is the reason why. A couple of people agree, you pivot. And so that's the rule I followed because it's very easy to fall into the trap of I'm gonna pivot, I'm gonna pivot, I'm gonna pivot, and just like not get anywhere.
Have you ever had the have you ever had it happen where maybe it was the right thing at the right time, but you just needed to wait a little bit longer?
Yeah, I was doing SEO at the end of the all of last year. That's what I was doing. I was helping B2B companies do SEO, and I heard it from all sides that it was a terrible business, and it kind of was because of AI search coming in, and all of a sudden 6 months in now, the business has shifted. It's gone from like SEO to like AI search now, and there's been companies that are like jumping on the trend and kind of like building businesses there. So I think that's a great example. If I had just waited 6 more months, I would have been able to like I would have been in a prime position at least to see the trend and then jump on it as well. But yeah, you can't think too much about like what the past has been.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up is I think when we were building open tools in early stages, we had a lot of issues with changing things. I think we changed things consistently, like every week. We were like,
Hmm.
hey, we're not finding people are biting at this price point, so we're changing it to this price point. And then we would have to, and then we would change it the next week and the next week. And on that, we never really had any substantial data. And it wasn't until we actually were like, hey, let's leave it alone for a month, maybe try it our best and see if it actually does work. Then we learned we didn't need to maybe mini pivot anymore, and we could just build exactly what we were building and provide value instead of just trying to provide value through pricing. So I agree with you. But talking about some of the wins that you've had, let's talk about that Canva app that you built and has getting serious traction. So about 10,000 recurring users, and now it's in the official Canva store. Can you tell me a little bit more about the story of that and where it is now?
Yeah. And Open Tools was like very helpful in getting me to that mark in the first place because that's how we connected. Yeah. So the Canva App Store is similar to like the Stripe App Store. So I'd seen the value of like being in a marketplace really, really early. And I was an SF and I saw that they had just launched Canva App Store, or Canva App Marketplace it's called. So I just went home and picked up my laptop and figure out like what are the different capabilities of the SDK that they had, and then came up with an idea for a carousel generator, like a social media carousel generator. So I was creating them anyways in Canva. So I was like, let me see if I could combine AI and Canva to be able to automatically generate a carousel for a specific topic, for a given topic. And then I can like export it and it will write the copy for me. It will do the design for me as well. All I have to do is put in the topic and then export at the end. So I was able to get the first version out really quickly. And I just didn't even give it a second thought because it was something like a throwaway thing I had built out. And I was like, I'll just, I don't know what this will do. And I didn't have a way of making money either. And so 10 months later, I open up the analytics. I see that like 6,000 people a month are using it. And the requirement for getting into, so Canva also launched this thing called Innovation Fund, where if you get to 10K recurring users a month, you'll get their official designation and like some money back as well. So I was hell bent on trying to get to the 10K, and I did a whole build in public campaign around it of like, this is day 3 of like trying to get to 10K. Day 4, by day 18, I was able to hit the 10K users. So it's been going strong. The growth has been going strong since then. And now what I'm trying to do is like add additional features, but like, add monetization to it. So the core app still stays the same, but adding in more value for a paid plan up top. And so we're thinking about launching. In fact, I got to finish up development just today, and I'll be ready to launch that.
Well, that's so exciting. We got like the first scoop on this. Well,
Mhm.
aside from obviously your promotion through Open Tools, which I'm sure was game changing, is there anything during between that 6 to 10,000 people mark that was kind of a game changer to help you guys get to 10K and then get all official with Canva?
Yeah, there was a bunch of. In fact, I wrote a post on this a bit ago about all of the different things I tried. So I tried all paid apps, sorry, paid ads, Meta, Google, Reddit, TikTok as well. I also tried messaging individual TikTok creators to be like, hey, can you review this app? And so that was one way. The last thing I tried was obviously, so newsletters was a big one. So that's where Open Tools was a part. And I think I sponsored like 5 or 6 newsletters. And the newsletter was actually the biggest bump just because the audience is so curated and you can really tailor the messaging to like those people and how many people you're going to get back. So if you send out a message to 100,000 people with a conversion rate, you're going to get this many people coming in. In fact, when I was doing this growth sprint, I was able to find the relationship between like how many people need to land on the landing page and then what percent of them will convert into active users. So I knew that 20% of people that would land on the landing page will actually become users. So then all the game sort of became how many people could I send to the landing page? And then I was trying all these different ways of like doing that. And newsletters was the biggest one that worked. Facebook ads out of the other platforms, Facebook ads was the best one that worked as well. The one thing I changed there was instead of going US only, I turned off US and opened it up to other countries. And Canva is like a global brand. They have like, I don't know, 100, 180 million creators all across the world. And so I was able to find people with lower CAC in other countries, and that worked really well. And that led to a spike of new users coming in.
Okay, that's amazing. What a successful story. I remember when you promoted with Open Tools and I was looking through it and like I saw the reviews, I saw the hype. So congratulations on everything that you built. And it's
Thank
cool
you.
to see you do it in public as well. I really liked the public campaigns and how you present yourself on LinkedIn. That actually brings me to my next question. For other people who are watching your journey and also want to, I guess, publicly build. And even myself, I know sometimes when I expose myself on LinkedIn or, you write those posts and maybe it doesn't necessarily always get the engagement you want. What type of like words of advice, what type of perspective do you think is really important to have when you're building in public?
Yeah, so the biggest one that I figured out, and this is after like 4 years of posting, is that a lot of people don't like click like I don't click like for other people as well, but I'm reading all of the time. So I know like what my friends are up to or like what are they building because they're all building in public as well. I think the wrong metric to look at is the number of likes or like comments or engagement as a way to be like, this is working and this is not. The right metric would be if you talk to somebody, do they bring up, oh, I saw you on LinkedIn? Like you meet so many people where they've been like following you for like 6 months, a year, and they have so much trust built in you, but they'll never put a like in and you would never know. So I think like follow conversations versus engagement, and that would be the biggest thing to focus on. And I think if you do that consistently, you'll find that your content becomes a lot more authentic. Like you're just like showing up for the things that you're building versus for what the algorithm wants you to post about.
That's super important. I feel like even like myself, whenever I'm posting on LinkedIn and stuff, I can get a little nervous, like, especially with engagement. It is a form of social media, no matter how professional it is. So it can be tough, but it's inspiring what you're doing. Regarding where you're headed, can you tell me a little bit about where you think Engine is heading and what you'd like it to head to next?
Yeah. So right now it's super early. So we're helping the first 20 founders get to success. That means helping them consistently post on LinkedIn and like share their story. Um, yeah, over time, I think like founders or like people that are building businesses built it for a reason. There's a story behind it. There's a why. There's a strong mission behind it. There's something that's like, this needs to exist today, and I'm gonna be the one to do it. I think like if more people can do that, they would have um, more inbound, like more people wanting to work with them, more partnerships. And I want to have Engine sort of like be the command center, like the place where you come in and dump your thoughts, and that sort of like becomes your newsletter that goes out. That becomes your LinkedIn messages. That becomes your Twitter. That becomes your like Substack, whatever that is. So like all of your thoughts in one place, and then all of the repurposing that happens is from there to like be visible in like different platforms. That's where I think like Engine can go, and we're just starting out first with LinkedIn, and we're gonna see like how that works and then go from there.
That's amazing. I feel like as somebody who's building something myself, I could use that 100%. I feel like sometimes you have a million little things going around in your head, and by the time you finish one, you've forgotten the other five. So if you can just kind of have a dumping place to activate all that, that would be amazing. All right, congratulations again. I wanted to finish off with just kind of some lightning round, something we do with everybody. One of my favorite questions to ask is, what's one tool that you use almost every day that you couldn't live without?
Oh, I want to say like Slack. Slack is just it's just a simple one, but it has all of my clients in there. I have all the communities that I'm part of, so like builder communities that keep me like going, and like a bunch of my friends are on there as well. So like I just use Slack for everything.
Cool. And have you found actually, I use Slack like with obviously within my team, but have you found success building communities in Slack and engaging customers that way?
Yeah, I think the issue is everybody's on Slack. So like if you try to like build it on a different platform, they're not there. And the biggest thing that you want in a community is people showing up. So if they don't even know about you, and like for example, if you have a Discord group or like a WhatsApp, which I'm a part of as well, like there's a couple of communities, and it's so hard to log into those because I see them as like a little bit of sacred ground. It's for my like very like my family's on WhatsApp, for example. So if I have a WhatsApp group, it's difficult to combine the two and think about work stuff and personal stuff. Um, but yeah, I think like Slack is really good because like it's people already know about it and it's B2B and you know that that's for work.
That's awesome. And then is there one small thing that you do every day, maybe a habit or a ritual that helps you stay focused while you're building?
You know what's funny? I literally talked to somebody just 30 minutes before, and I have to adopt a habit. So I'm trying to like start that from today, which is it's such a simple one, but like writing down like two or three major things that you want to get done the day of. The reason is I think it's so easy to, there's like 100 things you can do and you will do like 50 of them, but then at the end of the day you'll be like, I didn't do 50 other ones that are left, right? So it's very hard to feel content. And again, it's something that I'm struggling with. So what I've started doing, or like what I want to do is, come up with those three bullet points of the three things I want to get done by the end of the day every morning, and see if I got them done. And if I got them done, my work is done, and I can like let my brain relax, because otherwise it's hard to shut that part of your brain off.
You know, it's actually surprising how many different founders slash entrepreneurs, people who are like Series A, Series B, all the way to bootstrapped, I feel like have told me that exact advice. So I think it's a great habit to have and something that I'm going to start doing as well. Because I think sometimes you can have a million things to do and then you just get lost. So hopefully between my utilization of Engine one day and then that list, then we can make sure we're prioritizing what's important. Um, Awesome. So, is there anywhere that people can follow you, and anything else you'd like to say before we end off this chat?
Yeah. I'm always on LinkedIn if you want to give me a shout. So it is Sukhpal Saini on LinkedIn. I think we can like drop like my link on that. And if you're a founder looking to get more inbound leads through content, Engyne.ai, so Engyne.ai. It's for early access only. So if you send me a message on LinkedIn, I can get you in.
So, well, thank you so much, Suk. I hope you have a great day.
You too.